Hey guys, what's good? It's your girl, L to the D to the L to the D to the L to the D to the Ladessa. How you doing? What's good? What's crack-a-lackin'? Anyway, I missed you. And so I'm here and we're gonna because I missed you so much, I had to pull it together for you. Nice little beat. Nothing too major, but you know, because it's simple as this. Let us be friends. And that is my goal here. So while we're warming up our friendship, if you would be so kind, there is this beautiful red button and it has subscribe transcribed in it. If you would just touch that lightly, click it, and then there's this little bell over on this side that lets you know that your friend is here. Hit that, and then after the end of this video, we'll talk about Love Is, which is what I'm here to talk about. We'll talk about that in the comment section, and then hopefully you'll give me a thumbs up and you'll tell a friend to tell a friend that you have a new friend, and her name is Ladessa, and she has this little YouTube channel where and it's called Blogless Behavior. All right, so Tuesday night we were able to get down and enjoy episode 2 of season 1 of Love Is. Love is the love story of Salim and Mara Brock Akil and how they came together. If you are not familiar with them, they brought us classics like The Game, Girlfriends. They have a new show on the CW right now called Black Lightning about a black superhero that is doing the damn thing and trying to clean up these here streets. So when we left off on episode 1, they had their first, Nuri and Yasir had their first official date. And during that date, because they had met a year before and then they came together on their first official date, and Yasir says, well, what if we've been together this whole time, this whole year? And if I were to leave you right now, what would you say? And they look lovingly into each other's eyes. And Nuri says, I love you. And he says, I love you too. So that's where we leave off. Well, that's how we get into the journey of their love story, that date. And during that date, he invites her to a jazz concert that he wants to take her to. And this is all he's got to offer because he is broke as a joke. $1 and a dream. That's all he has, and apparently a kid. So I guess we'll be introduced to the kid later on. And she knows nothing about the kid. But he is currently living with his longtime girlfriend who has had just about enough of his $1 and his dream, because his $1 nor his dream can pay the rent. So she's had just about enough. But, you know, don't nobody want you till somebody else wants you. And so in his quest for Nuri, he has Nuri calling the house where he is still staying with his longtime girlfriend. He is late night honey dripping with some other woman while he is staying with Ruby, who is his ex-girlfriend now. And of course, once Ruby knows that, hey, somebody else might be interested in this $1 and a dream, she's like, hey, I have this meeting and I really need you to come and support me, and I really enjoy how you help me pick out my clothes. And mind you, she's got this little crocheted number with some little poom shorts on, and yeah, so, but Yasir, he is in love with Nuri. It's just like so amazing, but he's in love with her. And when Ruby makes her sexual advances, he says no. His saving grace is that it's also during Ramadan, so there's no sexual activity or anything like that. And then most importantly is he's in love with Nuri. So let me give you some poignant scenes that happen throughout this episode. When Yasir turns down Ruby's sexual advances, he says, you know what, I think it is time for me to go, because he does not want to do anything to blow this opportunity with Nuri. And despite him being a bit disrespectful by having Nuri call the house and him talking late night on the phone with her, he has some integrity. So he takes his little Sprint car, whatever it is. It's like rusted out, beat up. It's like about this big. He takes it down to a local grocery store parking lot, and he is living in his car. And there's a scene that is like so powerful. They show him washing himself or trying to rinse his body off with a gallon of water. And then the only form of contact, because now he's homeless, the only form of contact that he has for Nuri is his pager. And there's a scene where he's on the phone with the pager company saying, hey, look, I know I don't have the money for my bill, but there's a number I need to get off. So he don't even care nothing about the bill. He just needs the number to get to the love of his life. But of course, the bill people, the pager people, they don't care nothing about Nuri and his love for her. But he's holding on to the fact that she is going to show up to this jazz concert. Both Nuri and Yasir have two best friends that are pretty skeptical about this love at first sight situation they both found themselves in. And Nuri, being very dedicated to her job and very dedicated to her craft, is like, how do I balance having it all and being true to what it is I love and believe about what I do as a writer for this show, and get to know this man that I find myself in love with. So there is a scene where it's the night of the concert. Well, let me go back some because there's so many poignant episodes. Nuri is a writer on the show called Marvin, and it appears to be somewhere in the vein of Martin. And before, she just was like one of the staff writers. Marvin cared nothing about her. He didn't, but she comes up with this really great joke during the show. So now he's wanting to know, well, who is this girl that's got me, these hit lines in my show? And so he invites her to dinner at this place that's like exclusive. All of Black Hollywood, all of the Black elites go there, and she finds herself at the winner's circle. And when she comes out, she comes in contact with one of her boos, or well, her former boos, who is like a bigwig at the show. And he's like, well, how did you get in here? And what he asked her, as if the only way that she got to Marvin's table is because she put out. And he was like, only the somebodies get in here. And she was like, well, I guess I'm somebody tonight. And scurries him on his way. She also had another little something going on with a PA down at the job. And she just kind of shuns him to the side. And they come in contact later on in the show where he thinks he's got one up on her. So, let's see. She has this friend, Nuri has this friend, and I did not write her name down, but they kind of paint her to be a little bitter that she doesn't have a man, and she hides her bitterness behind her successful career as a writer on this hit TV show. On top of the fact that, she's like all for girl power, and she's appreciative that she has a seat at the table, but she wants to be seen. And so she hides behind all of that, like some of us women do a lot when we are not where we want to be in other areas of our life. We hide behind the positives or the things that make us feel like we rise above. So I want them to give us a little bit more depth with this character, Nuri's best friend, because she's coming off a little bitter and like just a little bit of hateration in her dancery. So what else happened? I talked about him washing himself with a gallon of water. So while he sleep one night in the car, Nasir. Nas, are you talking about me? Yasir's best friend finds him sleeping in his car and then brings him to the house and provides him with a place to stay. So it looks like he'll be staying with his guy for a little bit. And then it's Thursday night, the night of the concert, and he keeps saying to himself, Yasir keeps telling himself she's going to show up. It doesn't matter that we haven't spoke. Her love for me and my love for her is going to make her get to this show despite the fact that we haven't had any conversations. So it's the night of the concert and the day of the concert, and Nuri has paged him and he hasn't called her back, so she thinks. And then later on that night she finds out that the little PA that she was messing with, who was taking her messages, did not provide her with the message. So come to find out that Marvin is going to be hosting the Source Awards. Remember, set in the 90s. He's hosting the Source Awards, and so now they have to do a crash episode. Normally they would do it the following week. So they're like, okay, well, everybody get yourself together, because call your wives and cancel Christmas because we working late tonight. And there's one other thing. There's the showrunner, who is played by Kadeem Hardison. I don't know his name. I don't care about him. He's very disrespectful. In the era of, hashtag Me Too, he's one of those. Not touchy-feely, but really disrespectful at the mouth. Like one of his lines says, everybody come together because we getting ready to gangbang this shit out. Like, really? And you know how uncomfortable that's making a woman feel, talking about gangbang? But anyway, he's just dirty and just, I don't like him. But anyway, they have to write a whole new episode and film it. So Nuri is like sitting around and she's contemplating, like, what do I do? Do I get out? Do I throw everything that I've worked so hard for this man that I have no idea about? I know absolutely nothing about him. So she gets with her girlfriend and they come together and they plot. And the girlfriend is apprehensive, like, you don't know this fool from a can of paint. We are not throwing everything that we worked for away for this, romantical dream that you dreamed up in your head. But that's her girl. So she comes through in the clutch and they have this signal between each other through pagers, and there's codes. So one, hurry up and get your butt here because everybody's looking for you. Two, yeah, ain't nobody looking for you. So, I'll put your stuff in a box. And three, you good. Tell me everything that happened. So they agree that, okay, we're going to come together and we're going to let you go on and you better give me all the deets. As Nuri is trying to sneak out, she comes in contact with the little PA that she had a little fling with. And he gives her this whole soliloquy about one day she's going to realize that he was a diamond in the rough and she missed out once, he has his comeuppance or whatever. And she like shuns him off, like, you work for me. And he was like, oh, you really going to play me and I have your life in my hands? Because he knows that he didn't give her the message, and he knows that she's supposed to be going on to this concert to meet somebody else. And she just tells him flat out, you know what? I fell in love with somebody else. So that's just kind of what it is. And then she gives him the coup d'etat and tells him, you don't have my life in my hands, you have my coffee, and reaches and takes her coffee out of his tray of coffees that he has to take back to the set. And then at the end, it's just climactic. Right when somebody was asking Yasir to scalp the ticket, and the guy says, you don't happen to have any extra tickets, do you? And he's contemplating whether or not he should sell the ticket. And then here she comes and yells his name, and she runs up the stairs to meet him. And she was like, you didn't think I was coming, did you? He was like, I knew you were coming. And then they're walking in. He's like, I love you. And she's like, I love you too. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful show. I don't know if I'm the best reviewer of this show, but if you are a hopeless romantic like myself, it's a wonderful show. Check it out. And let's talk about it in the comments section. Have you ever had like a love at first sight situation? I think we've all have in our, in our life, not necessarily a lasting love, but like where you've come in contact with somebody and their energy is just magnetic and it just draws you and you're like, I need to get to know this person and I love this person, whether it's for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. I think we've all had that. So let's talk about that. I'll tell you about mine if you tell me about yours. All right, hit that subscribe button. Give me a big thumbs up. Let's talk about it in the comment section and tell a friend to tell a friend. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.